The great hall of the Galactic Council was huge. Tall glass windows let in light from 3 suns. Beings from over 200 worlds sat in curved rows. They all looked at the floating screen in the middle of the room. Ambassador Kim's son stood straight and calm. Her dark blue suit was perfect. Her black hair was tied back neatly. She was the face of Earth today. Behind her stood Captain Park Jin. He wore a simple black uniform with no marks. Only a small Earth flag on his sleeve showed who he was. His eyes missed nothing. High Counselor Vex floated forward. His body glowed slightly in the light. He had 4 arms and skin like blue glass. His voice filled the room without seeming loud. "We have finished our study of humans," Vex said. "We have watched Earth for 50 years. We have learned your history, your wars, your peacetimes. We have tested your soldiers and leaders. Today we share what we have found." The big screen changed. It showed pictures of Earth, of cities, farms, and oceans. Then it showed wars, old ones with swords, newer ones with guns and tanks. "Humans are smart," Vex continued. "You build well. You learn fast. Your music and art are good. But we have found something important about humans, something that tells us where you fit in our great family of worlds." Ambassador Kim's face stayed calm. Captain Park's eyes narrowed just a little. "Humans fear war," Vex said simply. "More than most species we know. You try very hard to avoid fighting. You make peace when you can. This is good. But it means you cannot be trusted with the hard work of keeping our borders safe." The room was quiet. Then many aliens began to nod or make sounds of agreement. "Earth will join us as a friend," Vex said. "You will help with science, with trade, with growing food and making medicine. The strong species will protect you and all peaceful worlds. This is our decision." Ambassador Kim bowed slightly. "The people of Earth thank the Council for its careful study. We accept your wisdom in this matter." Captain Park's hand tightened on his belt. No one but Kim noticed. As the meeting ended, aliens crowded around Ambassador Kim. They welcomed Earth to the Galactic family. They spoke of trade deals and science projects. Kim smiled and nodded, and said all the right things. Captain Park stepped back, touching his ear where a small comm unit sat. His face went hard as he listened to a message only he could hear. When the aliens finally left them alone, Park moved closer to Kim. "Madam Ambassador," he said quietly, "I just got word from Earth. The Tajuk colony was attacked 3 hours ago." Kim's calm face cracked for just a second. "Attacked? By whom?" "Pirates. They call themselves the Blood Harvest. They took the whole research station. 87 people are now hostages. The Council must help," Kim said. "They just promised to protect us." Park's face was like stone. "Admiral Lee has already sent orders. SEAL Team 9 is on the way. They launched as soon as the attack happened." "Without Council permission?" Kim asked, her eyes wide. "We don't need permission to protect our own," Park said. His voice was soft but hard, like steel wrapped in cloth. "The team will reach Tajuk in 6 hours. The Council thinks it would take 15. They don't know about our new ships." "What are the orders?" Kim asked. "Get everyone back alive," Park said. "Show no mercy to the pirates." Kim looked back at the Council chamber, where Vex was still talking with other leaders. "They think we fear war," she said quietly. Park nodded once. "They're about to learn what we really fear." "And what's that?" Kim asked. "Failing to protect our own," Park said. "The SEALs aren't afraid of war, Madam Ambassador. They're afraid of letting those 87 people die. And that's a much more dangerous thing." Commander Choi Jun moved through the small ship quietly. The lights were dim and red. His 5 team members checked their gear one last time. They were 2 hours away from the Tajuk colony. "Everyone listen," Choi said. His voice was calm and low. "I have the final plan." Han Mi looked up from her long rifle. She was small but strong. Her eyes were sharp, and her hands never shook. She could hit a target from very far away. "How many bad guys?" she asked. 39 pirates, Choi said. "Their leader is Warlord Skull. He has attacked 3 other places before this. He kills all prisoners if he doesn't get what he wants." Kang Ta sat with wires connected to his head. His eyes were closed as he looked at things only he could see. He was the tech expert. He could talk to computers with his mind. "I have the station maps," Kang said. "The pirates keep most prisoners in the main hall. Some are in the labs. The pirates want the science secrets." Yoon-hee laid out her special tools. She was the team's explosive expert. She could make things blow up exactly when and where she wanted. "How do we get in?" she asked. "They will watch all doors." "We don't use doors," Choi said. He pointed to a part of the map Kang showed them. "The station has old air pipes for emergencies. They are small, but we can fit." Nam-woo packed medical kits. He could save lives even in the worst places. He had drugs to help hurt people and to keep the team going if things got bad. "What about the hostages?" Nam asked. "Any hurt?" 3 security guards were killed right away, Choi said. His face got harder. "The pirates hurt 5 others to scare the rest. 2 are in bad shape." The team was quiet for a moment. Then Choi continued. "Our job is simple. Get in without being seen. Take control of key areas. Free the hostages. Capture or eliminate all pirates. We have 6 hours before they start killing more people." "What about council help?" Yoon asked. Choi's mouth made a tight line. "The council is still talking. They might send help in 2 days." "The hostages don't have 2 days, Han said. She checked her gun again. "Exactly," Choi said. "We are alone. Just how we like it." The ship's pilot called back to them. "Commander, we're 30 minutes from quiet drop. Switch to stealth systems now." Choi nodded. "Final checks. Comm systems dark except for team channel. Weapons ready but silent until my mark. Remember, we are ghosts until we choose not to be." The 5 members of SEAL Team 9 finished their preparations. They had trained together for years. Each knew what the others would do without speaking. They moved like parts of one body. Kang Ta opened his eyes. "I have something. The pirates are sending a message to the council now. They want advanced jump drive plans. They say they will kill 10 hostages in 6 hours if they don't get an answer." "They won't get an answer," Choi said. "They'll get us instead." The ship slowed and went dark. It drifted toward the station using no power. The pirates would not see it coming. "Put on oxygen masks," Choi ordered. "We drop in 15 minutes." The team put on their black masks. They looked strange and scary, like demons from old stories. "I thought the council said humans fear war," Han-mai said, her voice muffled by her mask. "They're right," Choi replied as he checked his pistol one last time. "We do fear war." "Doesn't look like fear to me," Yoon-hee said. "That's because there's something we fear more," Choi said. His eyes were cold and focused. "We fear failing those who count on us. We fear letting the innocent die when we could save them." The ship's rear door opened silently. The blackness of space waited for them. "And that," Choi said as he stepped toward the door, "is what makes us dangerous." Warlord Skull walked slowly through the main hall of the Tajuk research station. His hard, shell-like skin made clicking sounds on the floor. The human hostages sat in groups on the floor. They were quiet. Fear filled the room like a bad smell. Skull stopped in front of a small child who was crying. The child's mother pulled her closer, eyes wide with fear. Skull's 4 yellow eyes blinked slowly. "Your council does not answer," Skull said to all the hostages. His voice was rough like rocks sliding together. "Perhaps they do not care if you live or die." A tall human in a white coat stood up. "The research we do here is peaceful. We study plants that can grow in space. We are not soldiers. Please let the children go." Skull made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Peaceful, yes. The council says all humans are peaceful, too afraid of war to fight. That is why we chose your colony. He turned to his second-in-command, a scared warrior named Vrek. Any signs of rescue ships? None, Vrek said. Our sensors see nothing coming this way. The nearest human military base is too far. Even their fastest ships would take many hours to reach us. Good, Skull said. Bring me the station leader. It is time to send another message, one with more blood. High in the air ducts above the main hall, Han Mai watched through a small crack. She saw everything below. Her rifle was ready. In her ear, she heard Commander Choi's quiet voice. Report what you see. Main hall has 22 hostages, Han whispered. 4 pirate guards with energy guns. The leader Skull is here too. He wants the station boss. Sounds like they plan to hurt someone for their next message. Understood, Choi replied. Kang, what's your status? In the station's control room, Kang Ta hid in the shadows behind a large computer bank. 3 pirates worked at the controls, trying to access research files. 3 targets in control, Kang said very quietly. They're busy with the computers. They haven't seen me. Yoon, Nam, report, Choi called. In the lower levels, Yoon Hee and Nam Woo moved silently through dark halls. They had found where the pirates kept more hostages. We found the science labs, Yoon said. 10 more hostages here. 3 guards. The hostages look scared, but not hurt. 5 minutes until we move, Choi said. I'm in the power control room. When I cut the main power, we all act at once. Han, you take out the guards in the main hall. Kang, lock down the control room systems. Yoon and Nam, secure the hostages in the labs. Everyone keep Skull alive if possible. We need to know who sent him. What about station security systems? Kang asked. I'll handle those, Choi said. Be ready. In the main hall, a pirate dragged forward a middle-aged man in a blue uniform. The man's face was bruised. He was the station leader. Dr. Lee, Skull said. The council must see that we are serious. I will cut off your hand for our next message. Dr. Lee tried to look brave, but his body shook with fear. Killing me won't get you what you want. We shall see, Skull said. He pulled out a curved knife that glowed with heat. Your council thinks humans fear pain and death too much to fight. Let us show them how right they are. Skull raised the knife. The hostages cried out in fear. And then all the lights went out. In the sudden darkness, Skull heard strange sounds, soft thuds, quick footsteps, and then 4 short hissing noises. Not loud, just small puffs of air. When emergency lights came on 10 seconds later, Skull saw all 4 of his guards lying on the floor. Each had a small dart in their neck. They did not move. A voice came over the station speakers. It was calm but cold. Attention Blood Harvest pirates. This station is now under the control of United Earth Naval Special Forces. Drop your weapons. Surrender now, and you will live. Resist, and you will die. You have 10 seconds to decide. The Galactic Council emergency room was full. Leaders from 27 worlds sat around a round table. They talked loudly over each other. High Counselor Vex raised all 4 of his arms to ask for quiet. Please, Vex said. We must be calm. The pirate message came 2 hours ago. We have 4 more hours to decide what to do. A tall, thin alien with green skin stood up. The pirates want weapon plans. We cannot give those to them. But we also cannot let them kill the humans. Our nearest ships are a day away, another council member said. We cannot reach the Tajik station in time. Perhaps we can talk to them, Vex suggested. Buy more time. Tell them we are sending the plans, but slowly. While they argued, no one noticed a small light blinking on the main screen. Finally, a council worker saw it and pressed a button. The big screen at the front of the room turned on by itself. What is happening? Vex asked, confused. The screen showed a human man in black clothes. Behind him was what looked like the control room of a space station. Several pirate bodies lay on the floor. "This is Commander Choi Jun of United Earth Special Naval Forces," the man said. His face was calm. "I am calling from the Tajik Research Station." The council room went completely quiet. Every alien stared at the screen. "This is not possible," Vex said. "The station is 15 hours from Earth." Commander Choi continued as if he did not hear. "I am informing you that the pirate situation at this station is now over. All 87 human hostages are safe. 32 pirates are dead. 7 are our prisoners, including their leader, Warlord Skull." Vex's blue skin turned almost white. You took action without council approval. This is against all rules." On the screen, Commander Choi's eyes got harder. "With respect, Counselor, we do not need permission to protect our own people. My team deployed immediately after the attack began. We arrived 6 hours ago and have completed our mission." 6 hours, a council member whispered. "But how? Their ships are not that fast." "The pirates had this message for you," Choi said. He held up a datapad. "They wanted advanced weapon plans, or they would kill hostages. Here is our answer." The screen split to show another part of the station. There stood Warlord Skull with his hands tied. His yellow eyes looked dull with shock. Next to him was Han Mei, her rifle pointed at his head. "We will bring Warlord Skull to Earth for trial," Choi said. "His ship and crew are now ours. The station is secure." An older council member turned to Vex. "You said humans fear war too much to fight. You said they need our protection." Vex could not answer. He kept staring at the screen. "Ambassador Kim will speak with you soon about changing our status in the council," Commander Choi said. "Until then, we have work to finish here." The screen went black. The council room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then everyone began talking at once. Some were angry. Some were scared. Some were impressed. In a private room nearby, Ambassador Kim's son watched on a smaller screen. Captain Park Jin stood beside her. "The mission is complete," Park said. "No human casualties. Commander Choi did well." "The council is upset," Kim said. "They think we broke the rules." "We did," Park admitted, "but we saved our people." Kim nodded slowly. "Send a message to Admiral Lee. Tell him I want a full report before I meet with the council. And tell him," she paused, "tell him I am proud of our SEALs today." "They did what they are trained to do," Park said simply. "Yes," Kim agreed. "And now the council has seen what humans are really like when our people are threatened." "Not afraid of war after all," Park said with a small smile. "No," Kim said, "not afraid. Just waiting for a reason to show our strength." 2 days after the rescue, a special meeting took place on the Galactic Council's main station. In a large room with glass walls, Warlord Skull sat in a chair with energy cuffs on his 4 arms. His hard shell was cracked in several places. One of his yellow eyes was swollen shut. On one side of the room stood High Counselor Vex with 3 other council members. On the other side were Ambassador Kim, Captain Park, and Commander Choi. They all watched Skull in silence. "This is highly irregular," Vex said at last. "Prisoners should go through council courts." "We respect the council," Ambassador Kim said politely. "But pirates who attack humans will face human justice." Commander Choi stepped forward. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were sharp and cold. "Before we take him to Earth, we have questions," Choi said. "And I think the council should hear the answers." Choi walked up to Skull. The pirate tried to look brave, but his body trembled slightly. "Your attack was too well planned," Choi said. "Your ships knew how to disable our station defenses too easily. Someone helped you." "Who?" Skull's mouth parts clicked together. "I tell you nothing, human." Choi did not raise his voice. He did not move quickly. He simply leaned down closer to Skull's face. "You killed 3 station guards who had surrendered. Choi said quietly. You threatened to cut off Dr. Lee's hand. You were going to kill children to get what you wanted. Yes, Skull said with a harsh sound like a laugh. Because humans fear pain and death. The Council's own report says so. You are soft. Weak. Captain Park took a step forward, but Commander Choi raised his hand slightly. The room was very quiet. You misunderstood, Choi said. We don't fear war. We don't fear fighting. What we fear is much simpler. Choi pulled out a small device and pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the middle of the room. It showed the station's main hall during the attack. It showed the crying child and her mother. It showed Dr. Lee being dragged forward. We fear failing to protect those who cannot protect themselves, Choi said. His voice was still quiet, but something in it made even the council members step back. When you threatened our people, you didn't find our fear. You found our rage. Rage? Skull asked. For the first time, he looked uncertain. A special kind of rage, Choi explained. Not wild. Not out of control. A cold, focused rage that lets us do whatever is necessary. Choi tapped the device again. Now the hologram showed Skull's ship. Then it showed the SEAL team moving through the station like shadows. Quick, silent, deadly. My team crossed space in a new ship type your sensors couldn't detect, Choi said. We entered your ship while you slept. We moved through your station for hours before we struck. We could have killed every pirate. Instead, we only killed those who fought back. Skull's yellow eyes grew wide. Impossible. No one could. And now, Choi continued as if Skull hadn't spoken. You will tell us who helped you, who gave you the station defense codes, who told you when to attack. Skull looked at the council members, then back at Choi. The human is trying to trick you, Skull said to Vex. They cannot be this dangerous. Your own reports. Our reports were wrong, Vex said. His voice was shaky. I see that now. Skull seemed to shrink in his chair. If you tell us now, you go to a human prison, Choi said. If you make us work for the answer, you face a human court with all the families of those you threatened as witnesses. Skull lowered his head. It was Clan Drex, he said. They wanted the research. They paid us. Gave us the codes. Ambassador Kim looked at Vex. We will need to discuss this Clan Drex. Vex nodded slowly. Yes, and we need to discuss humans. It seems we have much to learn. 1 week after Skull's questioning, the full Galactic Council met again. This time, the meeting was about humans. The Great Hall was packed with representatives from every world in the Alliance. High Counselor Vex stood in the center. He looked tired. Behind him stood the head of Galactic Intelligence, a tall being named Zim with 6 eyes and silver skin. We are here to correct a mistake, Vex said. His voice was humble. Our assessment of humans was wrong. The room filled with whispers. Many aliens looked surprised or worried. Director Zim will share new information, Vex continued. Please listen carefully. Zim stepped forward. The large screen behind him lit up with images of Earth. For 50 years, we watched humans, Zim began. We saw them make peace after wars. We saw them create rules to limit fighting. We believed this meant they feared conflict. The screen showed the SEAL team's mission at Tajuk Station. Many council members leaned forward in their seats. We were wrong, Zim said simply. Humans do not fear war. They respect it. They understand its cost in a way few species do. The screen changed to show human history. It showed ancient battles with swords, modern wars with guns and tanks, and special forces training. Humans have fought more wars among themselves than any species we know, Zim said. They became good at it. Very good. But they also learned war's terrible price. In the audience, Ambassador Kim sat with Admiral Lee, who had come from Earth for this meeting. Captain Park stood behind them. What does this mean for the Council? Someone called out. It means we must change how we see humans, Zim answered. They are not weak. They are not afraid. They simply choose peace when possible. Admiral Lee nodded slightly. Ambassador Kim's face stayed calm. When they joined us, Zim continued, we promised to protect them. But at Tajuk, they showed they can protect themselves. And they can protect others too. The screen showed the SEAL team moving through the station. It showed how quickly and efficiently they took down armed pirates without harming any hostages. We have never seen such skill, Zim admitted. Such perfect control. Such focus. An alien with red fur stood up. Are you saying humans are dangerous? Should we fear them? The room got very quiet. All eyes turned to Zim. We should respect them, Zim said carefully. As they respect us, and we should be glad they prefer peace. Admiral Lee stood up. His uniform was simple but perfectly neat. His voice was strong and clear. May I speak? He asked. Vex nodded. Please do, Admiral. The people of Earth thank you for your honesty today. Admiral Lee said, yes, we can fight. Yes, we are good at it. But that is not what we want from our place in the Galactic Council. He walked to the center of the room. All eyes followed him. We want to build, not destroy. To explore, not conquer. This has always been true, he continued. But we will also never stand by when innocent lives are threatened. Not our own people, and not yours. A strange sound filled the room. It took a moment for the humans to realize it was applause. Many council members were hitting their hands or tentacles together in the human way of showing approval. Admiral Lee looked surprised. Ambassador Kim smiled for the first time that day. We propose a new arrangement, Admiral Lee said. Earth will provide special teams to help fight pirates and protect trade routes. In exchange, we ask for full council membership with all rights and privileges. Vex looked at the other council leaders. Many were nodding. I believe, Vex said, that we would be foolish to refuse. 2 months after the Tajuk incident, the Galactic Council's main hall looked different. A new seat had been added to the inner circle. It had Earth's flag on it. Ambassador Kim sat there now, with Captain Park standing behind her as always. High Counselor Vex called the meeting to order. Today we welcome Earth as a full council member. This is a historic day. Aliens from 200 worlds watched as Ambassador Kim stood to speak. We thank the Council for this honor, Kim said. Earth looks forward to working with all worlds for peace and safety in the galaxy. But not everyone was happy. A large alien with thick gray skin stood up. He was Grull, leader of Clan Drex, the same group that had paid the pirates to attack the Tajuk station. I object, Grull said in a loud voice. Humans are too new to space travel. Too untested. They should not have full member rights so quickly. Captain Park's hand moved slightly toward his side, but Ambassador Kim gave him a small look that meant wait. Clan Drex has concerns, Kim said calmly. This is understandable. Change can be difficult. Grull looked surprised. He had expected the human to be angry. Perhaps, Kim continued, we can address these concerns directly. Captain Park, please share our proposal. Captain Park stepped forward and touched a control panel. A large screen lit up, showing a star map of the galaxy. In the past month, Park said, human ships have found and stopped 12 pirate attacks in these areas. Red dots appeared on the map. Many were close to Clan Drex space. We have made the trade routes 70% safer, Park continued. Ships can now travel without fear in these sectors. The council members looked impressed. Grull looked less happy. What does this have to do with my concerns? Grull asked. Ambassador Kim smiled slightly. We understand that Clan Drex has suffered many pirate attacks in recent years. Your mining ships have lost much valuable cargo. This must be very hard for your people. Grull shifted uncomfortably. Yes, pirates are a problem for everyone. Which is why, Kim said, Earth is offering to extend our protection to Clan Drex shipping lanes at no cost, as a gesture of friendship. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what this really meant. Earth knew about Clan Drex's deal with the pirates. This was a warning wrapped in a kind offer. Grohl's face showed surprise, then understanding, and finally a careful respect. Clan Drex accepts this generous offer, Grohl said slowly. Perhaps I was too quick to judge humans. Commander Choi watched from the back of the room. He wore a simple black uniform now, not his combat gear, but he still looked alert and ready. Admiral Lee has a message for the Council, Ambassador Kim said. The screen changed to show Admiral Lee on the bridge of a large Earth ship. The Earth Defense Fleet has created a new division, Admiral Lee announced. The Galactic Protection Force. Special teams are now ready to respond to threats anywhere in Council space. The screen showed a line of ships, new and powerful. At the front stood teams of human soldiers in black uniforms. With them were a few aliens from other worlds. We invite warriors from all Council races to train with us, Lee continued. Together, we can keep our galaxy safe. Many Council members stood and cheered. Even Gruel nodded with grudging respect. After the meeting, Captain Park walked with Ambassador Kim to her office. Clan Drex will behave now, Park said. They know we know. Yes, Kim agreed. Sometimes the best diplomacy is just letting others know what you are capable of. And what are we capable of? Park asked with a small smile. Kim looked at him. Peace through strength, and absolute rage when necessary. 6 months after Earth joined the Galactic Council, a new building stood on the main Council planet. It was the Earth Special Forces Training Center. Today was its first day open. Commander Choi Jun stood in front of a large room. Around him stood 50 aliens from 20 different worlds. They all wore simple black training clothes. They had come to learn from humans. Welcome, Choi said. You are the first class of the Joint Species Defense Force. For the next 3 months, you will train with my team. What you learn here may save your life and the lives of others. A tall, thin alien with blue skin raised a hand. Commander, my people are peaceful traders. We have no fighting skills. Why did the Council send me here? Choi nodded. A good question. Han Mei, please answer. Han Mei stepped forward. The small sniper looked even smaller next to the tall aliens. We don't train you to love fighting, she said. We train you to protect those who cannot protect themselves. There is a big difference. In a viewing room above the training floor, Admiral Lee watched with High Counselor Vex and several other Council leaders. Your methods are unusual, Vex said. Most species train only their strongest as warriors. Admiral Lee shook his head. That's the first lesson we teach. Size and strength matter less than skill, teamwork, and determination. On the training floor, Yoon-hee was showing the aliens how to move quietly. Nam-woo was teaching others how to give emergency medical care. Kang-ta worked with a group on communication systems. Your team is sharing all your methods, a red-furred council member said with surprise. No secrets. The goal is to make everyone safer, Admiral Lee said, not to keep humans special or better. In another part of the training center, Captain Park was meeting with security chiefs from all Council worlds. They sat around a large table looking at star maps. The pirates have changed their patterns, Park explained. They avoid areas where our joint patrols operate, so we will change too. Here is our new plan. One security chief, a rock-like being named Cruel, spoke up. Before humans came, we fought pirates for 100 years with little success. How have you changed so much in 6 months? Park's face stayed calm. We think differently. Pirates expect certain responses. We do the unexpected. Back in the main training room, Commander Choi was showing the aliens a video of the Taejuk rescue mission. Watch how we move, Choi said. Not fast, not flashy, just efficient. No wasted motion, no wasted time. A green alien with 4 arms raised all of them at once. But Commander, you are not using advanced weapons, just simple guns and knives. Why? The weapon is not what matters most, Choi answered. The warrior using it matters more. Technology can fail. Your mind and body must not fail. He pointed to his head, then his heart. Train these first, then worry about better weapons. In the viewing room, Admiral Lee turned to the council leaders. Any questions about our methods? Vex looked thoughtful. Your people share freely. This is not what we expected. What did you expect? Lee asked. When we saw how good your warriors were, Vex admitted, we thought humans would keep their advantages secret, use them to gain power. Admiral Lee smiled slightly. There was a time in our history when we might have done that, but we learned a better way. Which is? Asked the red-furred counselor. A rising tide lifts all boats, Lee said. When everyone is stronger, everyone is safer, including us. A council member in the back spoke up. You really don't fear others becoming as strong as you. Admiral Lee looked down at the training floor, where humans and aliens were now working together in mixed teams. We welcome it, he said simply. 1 year had passed since the Tajuk rescue. The galaxy had changed in that short time. Pirate attacks were down by 80%. Trade was up. More worlds felt safe to join the Galactic Council. On the anniversary day, a special ceremony took place at the rebuilt Tajuk Research Station. The station was bigger now and had better defenses. It also had a new memorial wall with the names of the 3 guards who died in the pirate attack. Commander Choi Jun stood in his dress uniform before a large crowd. Humans and aliens sat together in the main hall. Dr. Lee, the station leader who had almost lost his hand to Warlord Skull, stood next to Choi. 1 year ago, this station faced its darkest hour, Dr. Lee said. Today, we honor those who saved us and remember those we lost. Ambassador Kim and Admiral Lee sat in the front row. Next to them was High Counselor Vex and 20 other council leaders. Even Grohl from Clan Drex was there, looking somewhat uncomfortable but respectful. Dr. Lee continued, Commander Choi and SEAL Team 9 showed the galaxy what humans truly are. Not frightened of war, as some thought, but willing to face any danger to protect life. Commander Choi stepped forward to speak. He looked at the crowd with calm, steady eyes. We did not act to prove anything, Choi said simply. We acted because 87 people needed help. That is all. In the back of the room stood Captain Park with Han Mei, Kang Tai, Yoon Hee, and Nam Woo. They wore simple dress uniforms with no special marks or medals. They looked proud but humble. After the ceremony, the special guests moved to a reception room. Admiral Lee found himself standing with Vex and several alien military leaders. A remarkable year, Vex said. The Joint Species Defense Force has already graduated 100 officers. Piracy is down. Peace is up. A tall, 4-armed alien general nodded. All because we misunderstood humans. Admiral Lee smiled slightly. Perhaps it was a fortunate misunderstanding. The alien looked confused. How so? If you had known our true nature from the start, Lee explained, you might have feared us, kept us at a distance. Instead, we had to show you who we really are. Across the room, Ambassador Kim was speaking with a group of scientists. Captain Park stood nearby, watching everyone as always. The research here has advanced quickly, Kim said. Your new plant hybrids will help feed people on many worlds. One scientist, a small green alien, nodded excitedly. Yes, and we feel safe to work now. The new defense systems and regular patrols keep all threats away. Near the memorial wall, Commander Choi stood alone for a moment. He looked at the 3 names carved there. Han Mei walked up beside him. Do you think the pirates will ever come back? She asked quietly. Some might try, Choi said, but they know what waits for them now. Not just us, but all the new joint teams. The council thought we feared war, Han Mei said. They were wrong. Yes and no, Choi replied. His voice was thoughtful. We do fear war. Any sane being should. War means death and pain and loss. He turned to look at the crowd of humans and aliens talking together. sharing food and stories. But we fear letting innocent people suffer even more, he continued. And now the galaxy understands that. Han Mi nodded. Absolute rage when necessary. And absolute peace when possible. Choi finished. At the end of the day, as the guests prepared to leave, High Counselor Vex approached Admiral Lee one last time. We have learned much from humans this year, Vex said. The Council's first assessment was indeed wrong. Admiral Lee shook his head. Not entirely wrong, Counselor. Just incomplete. How so? Vex asked. You said we fear war, Lee explained. And we do. But you didn't understand what that fear makes us do. And what is that? Vex asked. It makes us very, very good at ending wars quickly, Admiral Lee said with a small smile. So we can get back to peace. *****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************